So this recent advertisement to recruit 45 members laterally to post under the UPSC services has sparked this entire controversy, the opposition hitting out. 2 days later, it was withdrawn. Even the government's own ally, you had Chirag Paswan speaking out very strongly against lateral entry without any sort of quota system. So that is the big controversy now. To talk more about this, we're joined by Raja Avasthi, political analyst, someone who supports the Congress, and Geeta Bhatt, political analyst supporting the BJP. Raja Avasthi, first to you, your comments on what the law minister had to tell NDTV, saying that this is all a false narrative being created by the opposition, and saying that lateral entry is something that has been around since the Nehru years.
Gadi, see, this ad appeared on 9th August, and the government asked for 45 professionals in 24 different ministries. And now the law minister is defending by saying that the opposition, starting from Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, Manmohan Singh, government also had this kind of a policy. If those governments had this kind of policy, that means the present government is going to go by all the policies that the Congress government had, and why they say that the country didn't do progress in the 50-60 years that the Congress was in the power. So what is this going back to Nehru and going back to Rajiv Gandhi, Indira Gandhi? I think there's some mismatch what the government wants and what the minister is saying.
All right, Geeta Bhatt, your response to that and the withdrawal 2 days later of this advertisement calling for people in 45 positions in the UPSC, and this had led to criticism not just from the opposition, not just from the Congress, but by the allies themselves. You had Chirag Paswan, as I mentioned, speaking out very strongly against this.
Well, I think the sensitivity of the government towards the issue which has been raised, I think it was very put forth in a very, very explicit manner by Mr. Meghwal on the interview that was taken by your television channel. And you see, the point here is that what the opposition is trying to do, the issue that is being raised related to the implementation of the reservation policy with these posts which have been just taken out by the UPSC in terms of the lateral entry. There are two aspects to it. One aspect is whether how sincerely you want to see the implementation or having some experts in the panel, which is the main objective of having this kind of a lateral entry position, which earlier also has been done. Already examples have been given that even Mr. Manmohan Singh, Montek Singh Ahluwalia, these were people who came through via lateral entry. So it is not something which happened for the very first time. But the point here is the politics that is being done by the opposition parties over and the kind of a false narrative that they are trying to build over the reservation policy. No one can ever remove reservation policy, as it is very much part and parcel of the constitution of this country. And as far as the sensitivity towards the issue of reservation is concerned, and those who foresaw the reservation required in this country, whether it was Baba Sahib Ambedkar or whether it was it is the OBC community. You see, the OBC commission was in pipeline for decades together, but it is ultimately the Modi government which actually formed the OBC commission in this country. Even in terms of giving the respect to Baba Sahib Ambedkar, it was Mr. Narendra Modi who had come forward with the idea that we need to look at the various places where Baba Sahib Ambedkar went and whether where he was born, where he adopted Buddha as a religion, and as well as he studied in UK. So the punch deeds that he defined. So all these, you need to, what the opposition lacks is actually...
All right, so let's get a response to that. Raja Avasthi, the government in the withdrawal of that advertisement also said that the Prime Minister felt there was a need keeping equity and social justice in mind, indicating that earlier in the UPA years when you had lateral entry, all these issues were not kept in mind, and you're raising it now when you're in the opposition.
No, opposition, you keep opposition at this thing. What about Chirag Paswan and other allies which spoke to Prime Minister on this issue and wanted Prime Minister to withdraw this advertisement, or the government to withdraw this advertisement? Their allies are not on their side. How can they talk about opposition?
Right. I'm also asking about the fact that it's now being pointed out that in the UPA years, now you're raising this issue of reservation and social justice, but this was not kept in mind earlier when lateral entry was done. And that is something that the government now pointing out that we will do it now, keeping in mind equity and social justice.
So once you are quoting the governments as early as 1960s, and then later 70s and 80s, now you're talking about keeping reservation on this thing. I don't think government is clear what they are planning and what they're looking at. It's like giving in what the opposition is saying.
But the formal introduction of lateral entry was done in 2005. Yes.
Somewhere the opposition is right. It's other way around. It's giving backdoor entry to their affiliated organizations or their close organizations which work for them.
All right. So, Geeta Bhatt, this point about the allies themselves, the fact that this advertisement was of 45 positions was something that had raised concerns. Earlier, lateral entry was done, in very specialized and in a few, areas. But that is what had raised concerns and an embarrassment to the government. Earlier we've never seen such quick retractions from the Modi government. This time it's a coalition government. There are, of course, pressures from the allies, and that's why we're seeing that, within 2 days of this advertisement of ministers coming out and defending it and hitting out at the opposition, that with the allies criticizing it, they were forced to withdraw it.
Well, you see, criticism is one thing and raising concern is another thing. And I think the allies had raised their concern. It is not that they went out in public and tried to do politics over it. They raised their concern at the appropriate places with the government, with the Prime Minister, and it was very well taken into consideration that this needs to be relayed. And therefore, this particular advertisement was withdrawn. But on the other hand, what the opposition parties are doing, they are trying to put up a narrative, a false narrative, that the civil servants are being inducted, in a manner which is not a part of the actual recruitment process, and certain selective people are trying to be, brought into these places as civil servants. While it is very much clear that this is basically a contractual position, which is for a limited number of 5 years, 3 years, which is, as per conditions, extendable only by 2 years. And these kind of lateral entries, it has been their part of the government, and usually, because see, bureaucrats, they know very well about the functioning of the government, but there are various policies.
Right, ma'am, you can explain it to me, but why weren't you able to convince your own allies? And Raja Avasthi, your reaction to that the opposition is, is promoting this false narrative, this false sort of creating, this sort of uncertainty or insecurity in people's mind that what they were advertising for was very clear.
No, first of all, do you think this kind of, in 2 days, government taking back a decision was possible between 2014 and 2024? It is in this present government where it is not, they don't have the majority, and Chirag Paswan has gone on record. My colleague, my friend is saying that nobody has gone in public. Chirag Paswan has gone in public. Others have not gone in public and spoken to the Prime Minister. That's in the clearly in everybody knows. So where is, you can see the present government's position. First they came out with the ad, and within 2 days they withdrew. So that shows the weakness in the government.
All right. Final word, Geeta Bhatt, to you.
Well, you see, the point here is that the induction through this lateral entry is meant so as that whatever policy formation is being done by the government, there are experts who are part of, they are very much part of the particular ministry, so that those inputs can be taken in and inducted while any particular policy is being made, whether it is in terms of environment, whether it is in terms of economics, and the opposition, in terms of doing a constructive criticism, is trying to politicize the issue and trying to show that the government is basically taking such decisions which are anti-reservation, which is not true at all. So it would have been better had they been more constructive in their, in their criticism and put forth their suggestions to the government. The allies are very well gone. Mr.
Right.
Chirag put forth his point of view in front of the press, but he and all others have put forth their opinion in front of the government. So this is something where they raise the concern, and that concern has been taken in by the government.
All right,
So
we'll leave it there.
Course correction should be welcome, rather than doing a politics over the course correction which the government is trying to do.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much both for joining us on the program.